What the hell do I know? I'm just JB, middle-aged dad with ADD. Candid combos, jokes so lame, jabronis pulling a poker face. Just a couple of dudes with ADD. What the hell do I know? With JB.
We are back, man. The third episode of season 2. I don't even, what does that make it, 23? Are we like Michael Jordan? This is Michael Jordan's episode.
Yep. And
this is
prime.
Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, shout out. 23. Man, thank you for all you did for the sport of basketball, for real.
We're more like the baseball Michael Jordan.
He's like baseball.
Yeah.
You spell Michael Jordan?
baseball.
Wow.
I don't know about basketball.
Come on.
Not yet, dude. Not yet.
Baseball, Michael Jordan. I think that's a stretch, man. But I am excited. We got these new I'm gonna see how it goes. We got these new in-ears and trying different things for you, man.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. Thank you
for the
again
audience.
for listening and tuning in. We of course want to welcome you to our Floors.com studio. Floors.com is your one stop for your next flooring solution right here. So I love it. Absolutely. Thank you so much. But man, I'm excited to have my good friend Drew Armacost.
Yes.
Man, I'm excited to be
Man,
here.
super excited. Is it director of sales, or is there like a new title they've given you?
Director of sales, I'm transitioning into president of the company. The guy who started the company in 2006 is phasing out into retirement. So
That's
a little bit of a
like
learning
an
curve.
applause or something, Juice.
Yeah,
Have an applause
great
button
job.
over there.
Let me see. I gotta figure out how to work this thing.
Oh,
We got,
this is Juice for you right here.
What?
I give him one chance to control this thing, and
we gotta put
Here
all
we
of
are.
them on the same.
I do have them there. Oh, that's the wrong one.
No, that was for me.
He did that.
That
on
was for me, bro.
purpose. He did that on purpose.
That was for me.
Oh man, he'll figure it out. You don't have to hit the button. You just hit the button where the applause is. There, you'll see it. You'll figure it
Nah,
out.
what do you mean? You just hit this and it.
No, put it back on the full screen. Put it back on the full screen. Now hit the button on the top left.
There you go. That's way easier.
See how much easier that is?
How much time do we have?
Well, we're in it, baby. No, but Drew, that's congratulations. That's
That's awesome, man.
I know you've been doing great things with affordable home insurance. I also know you're a heck of a golfer. I mean, am I correct? Because I feel like we've known each other for a little while now, and I believe you've told me a story before how you were like a PGA like pro in the pro house sort of deal. So you got to be pretty good to do I mean, you have to know how to sell shirts and golf balls, but you got to be
able to fold the shirts. That one of them that sold itself. But no, I mean, I got in the golf business early, kind of, trying to find my way in life, and figured out I was a pretty decent golfer, and I could probably maybe get into the golf program. So I'd spent some time in the business before I got in the insurance business, and really lean on that for a lot of like relationships.
Oh, of course. There. I mean, the golf course solves a lot of stuff. So what a great way to
pathway to what I do.
Crazy enough, the people that watch this show, there's some from my hometown. Danielle, my wife's first date was with a guy that he has since gone on to play in the Masters golf
cool
tournament. And here's what's great about him. He played D1. He won I think he was 3-time state champion in our high school. And so it was her first date, and then she got you. She got me.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you want, man? Here we are. So, but he went on, and he was focused on golf. He went on to win state champion three years in a row, I think, maybe even 4. People at Eagles in high school correct me. So correct me, boo. Check me. But he went on to do that. Then he played D1, and then he went on like some tours, like the smaller tour stuff, and I guess started dating some girl, and life starts hitting, and he went into insurance.
Most ex-golf professionals end up selling real estate or insurance.
Yeah. But he went out and played like a Pro-Am years later out in like Arizona and won it. And that got him exempted to the Masters.
No kidding.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
And what a cool story is his cousin went to our school too. And they growing up playing golf together, I'd say, well, that whole, if I make it to the Masters, you'll caddy my bag sort of thing, right? His cousin caddied his bag.
That's cool.
What a lifetime experience that is.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I can only imagine that, right? But aside insurance, director of sales, transition and president of affordable home insurance, heck of a golfer, but you're also Juice's biggest nemesis in poker, but also his poker crush. Also his poker crush.
I'm happy being both, to be honest.
It goes both ways.
But a solid poker player at that. So we're excited, absolutely excited to have
this
you.
is the conversation we've had. Is it Drew or curtains? It's one of the two.
Curtis is making a good move. He's playing a little bit more than I am right now, right?
And his percentage of wins versus times he's played, it shatters everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know who Curtains is. Who's Curtis?
Curtis.
Yeah.
Okay.
You would know Curtis.
Yeah, we can't say his last name.
We don't like to say last
Warrants
names.
also.
I understand.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what game you're talking about. There's no money involved.
Curtis will watch this, and hey, Curtis didn't make it to the end last time, so I felt pretty good about that.
He was one of the first ones out, wasn't he?
He was up there. I don't know.
Our table we drew was insane.
It was a tough table.
I think some guy named Stan took him out.
Stan took him out.
Stan Blackman. They know who Stan Blackman is.
Stan's been on the show. Absolutely. But so affordable health insurance and
Affordable home insurance.
I'm sorry.
We sell everything
home.
but health insurance.
Yeah, that's still
Gosh, good call. You get $10 podcast. We just dropped out at 8.
That was
We just
12.
were at 8. We're at 8. We gone back.
about
So
$3.50.
affordable home insurance is so you can find them at ahifl.com. We'll throw that up on the screen. But it is now time for Drew to go on the hot seat. You're going to play What the Hell Do I Know with Drew Armacost. I love the picture. It's a great picture. The most interesting man in the world.
Credits to Ryan Matthew.
We will have that flash up.
Oh, let's go.
So, Juice, can you hit the clock? We're going to put the clock on. We're going to give you 7 questions, rapid succession. You can pass if you want to. First question, here we go. When did you know Juice treated you differently at the poker table?
2014 year-end tournament. When he folded like a monster hand that he shouldn't have, and I totally bluffed him off of it, but he didn't think I bluffed.
You knew you had it then. You knew you had it then. That's it. Okay, number 2. Can you remember your worst bad beat in poker?
I can. It was very recently in a location very close to where we are right now, just a couple weeks ago, and I'm all in with a much better hand.
Oh my gosh, I know this hand.
Yes, you were there.
Yes, I was there.
I'm all in pocket 10s, and the guy goes all in with 7s, and he rivers a 7.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Brutal. He had a monster covered. All right, that was bad. That was a bad beat. All right, number 3. Have you ever had a hole-in-one?
I've had 2.
2. Nice. Did you have to buy the drinks and all that stuff afterwards?
First time I had a hole-in-one, the bar was closed when I got done. I didn't have to buy any drinks. The second time I had a hole-in-one, we had a hole-in-one kitty, so everybody paid me $100. I actually made money that day.
Holy cow. He's the only person that makes money on a hole-in-one.
Yep.
That's how it should be. It's crazy.
All right. Number 4, favorite place to watch a sunset?
38 at the beach. I mean, come on.
So good, I know.
Yeah.
I throw it out there because people need to know this is the place
Especially
to be.
October.
This is the you're exactly right. She said that a couple episodes ago. Number 5, if you could go back to one place on vacation, where would it be?
Isla Mirada, but with my kids.
All right.
They completely checked out from. Yeah, we live.
It's
at
a
the
great
beach.
spot. It's a great spot because you can hit the Gulf side
Yep.
and the Atlantic
Yep.
side. It's such a great, big deep sea
Yep.
fishing, inshore fishing. Almirada's a good spot. Number 6, favorite place to eat here on the Emerald Coast?
Camille's.
Camille's.
That's a great answer. Yeah.
Had dinner there last night.
Good answer. Number 7, who is the hardest person to play at our table?
I would have to go with Curtains right now.
Curtains
right now.
Have a
Right
real
now,
hand.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think you're probably right. Curtains
Yeah.
is up there. I mean, I always have you. You're a hard person to play, so he's off the hot seat. Let's give him an applause.
All right,
Congratulations.
all right.
Well done, Drew. Great job, my man. You are off. Good answers. Now, this is kind of a section. Just hit the button again. It should stop.
Hey, man. Hey, how do you work this thing?
There you go.
There we
Just
go.
leave it alone, man. Good Lord. All right, so I just want to give you a second. Just kind of tell us a little bit, like a little 30-second, or a minute-long kind of overview of what you got going on in affordable home health insurance, or not health. I keep saying
No
health.
health.
No
insurance. Jeez.
affordable home
Hold on.
insurance.
They never button over here for this.
It's
Where is this at? I can't even read anything.
That's
How long we known each other? No.
No, you
That's
should
close.
sell health insurance. No, you should.
gonna be
You
No.
should stay
You
out
want
of
to get in
that
that
game.
market?
That
Yeah.
game is terrible.
I want nothing to do with that.
No, I agree with that.
So affordable home insurance, we were founded in 2006 by Dennis Gagnon Jr., who was formerly a Farm Bureau agent. He worked on the captive side for a long time, realized that he was turning a lot of people away for home insurance and that there was better markets out there. So he went and secured appointments with a lot of independent carriers and has since grown it to one of the largest independent agencies in the panhandle of Florida, if not all of Florida.
That's
So,
awesome.
Yeah, we service pretty much all lines of insurance except health insurance.
Which is a crazy market
it's
with
a
the
mess.
Obamacare and all that. Why would
It's
you
a
want to get
mess.
involved in that?
Got some good referral partners for that. So
There
if
you go.
anybody calls looking for that, we can send it out. But
Well, you may get a lot of calls from this now.
I hope. Well,
We tried to put people on the right path.
Yeah. Man, we've been very blessed with the community that we live in. It's rapidly growing. Walton County, obviously you've got the military. There's always people coming and going, so there's turnover of houses. Yeah. And we've specialized in homeowners insurance, and then have kind of grown our footprint from there. But one-stop shop, have access to every market there is, and that's the way we always plan on keeping it. And I want you to be able to call me and say, hey, I need this, and I want to be able to find you the best rate with the best coverage.
Well, I love that about you. But before we go, because we're going to dive deeper into some of the things you got going on in insurance, that is a great synopsis of what you got going on at Affordable Home Insurance. Yep. So it's great segue into what we got. Yo. True North Pest Control. They are all over Central Florida, Georgia, and they just moved here to the Armacost. I just switched my service over to them. You got to check them out. Tell them JB sent you. They'll take care of you. We are a bug-free podcast because of them. True North Pest Control. Now back to the show. But I do want to give a shout to our drink of the day, the Mastro I always say this wrong. It's Dobel, Mastro Dobel. It's their 1968. It's like bottle 5,000.
Wait, this is from 1968?
It's like their 50 or 60 year anniversary. Woo. But this tequila, we've only had it one other time on this show. Mike Anderson is the only other one that's had it. So us three and Mike Anderson, that's four. Now Drew makes the fifth person that's tasted this bottle. So cheers to this tequila.
I don't like tequila.
This is just tequila on the rocks, a little bit of orange in there. But as always, drink only if you're 21 and older, and drink responsibly. But that's excellent. I told you had seen some tequila at the house. I said we're going to do tequila today. That goes down smooth.
I'm a big tequila fan.
That's a smooth tequila right there. What's
your favorite tequila?
So, Lalo tequila is probably an everyday drinker for me. Not that I drink every day, but if I were to, that would be the one I go to. Now, special occasions, I've got a lot of favorite ones. Tequila Ocho is very good. I'm more of a Blanco kind of guy because I made the transition from bourbon to tequila, and kind of started bourbon to repos and anejos, and then more to blancos, mainly because it doesn't have additives in it.
That's true. So there's nothing. Well, the additives really, even in añejo though, you're only talking about añejo. I think 90 days. So less than 30 is blanco. 30 to 60 is kind of the reposado, and then that gets into the añejos. But you got like double añejos and all that. I guess you do have an additive more from the oak that it sits in, right? So
that's why you get the
color, It's
more like a bourbon.
Oh yeah. It does. It does feel that way.
Even that kind of reminds me.
This is probably like a double añejo.
It's very good. Very good.
So it's very good stuff, and of course, it has to come from Jalisco in Mexico to be called a tequila. Otherwise, it's mezcal. So pretty interesting.
Okay. Yeah, so good.
It's so great. So good. Drew, one thing I know about you is your personal touch, man. I mean, the other day there was a fire around the corner of my house, and you were calling me to see if I was okay.
If he started it. Yeah, right. That was his first question. Was where you at?
What does your juice have to do with this?
What's your show today? That's so funny because they're selling it as a live now.
So they sell it as the live. But so he calls me and are you okay? There's a fire. Is that going on?
It was.
And I check around because it was kind of around the corner from me. I check around, find out the address, and it is actually still a client of yours.
It is.
And by the time I called you back to say who it was, you already knew. You had already talked to your client. You had a personal touch. You were on top of it. And I know that had to help your client navigate what can be a difficult time. I mean, it's already sucks if you lose your house. You got all these possessions in your home and all this. But then to have somebody navigate that. I feel in this day and age with insurance companies where you go online and you've got the low-cost provider, I can do whatever I want. I mean, the thing that I find interesting is what makes you guys have that personal touch? What drives that part of your business?
So we like to consider ourselves more advisors, right?
Yep.
You got your financial advisor. Well, you need an insurance advisor. You don't know what to buy. I mean, if you go online and buy something direct from Progressive, and no, Progressive's great. I represent Progressive, but any of these companies that sell direct to consumer, most of the time you can input the coverages you want. You don't know what you're buying unless you
don't even know if you're adequately covered or not.
Yeah. So, for us, it's more we're an advisor. I'm your advisor. This is what your risk is, and this is how we cover it.
Right.
And then we can get creative from there if cost is an issue. But
sure.
More often than not, most people really want to know that when something happens, they're covered. But to touch on personal touch, man, it's been so difficult in our business with technology, and most of the new generation buying insurance right now, they don't want to return a phone call. They want a text or they want an email, right?
Right.
So you don't get the face-to-face interaction like we used to, which I really don't like about our business right now. I don't like that shit because just like we get together on Mondays, like that's my network of friends, and I like seeing people and putting a name with a face. So when I see you at the grocery store, I can, hey, John, how you doing, man?
Yeah,
How's everything? Sure. Do we need to review anything?
For sure.
That's the way that we try and conduct business over there. It's not just a number. We're not just trying to sell it, based on premium all the time, which is what most people, unfortunately, want to buy insurance based on premium sometimes.
Based on what the amount is, what I can kind of afford. When you don't see it the same way. I mean, I think sometimes, and this is really a good segue to, our audience, because we have an audience that ranges from everywhere from 16 years old to like 44 is like 85% of our audience. And when you're younger, I think you don't really think about insurance. And then as you get older, you start thinking about the assets you have. But you're not, as an average American, as I was coming up, I just thought I wanted to, what's the least amount I can pay for my insurance? But as I started adding more assets, so if I got this apartment complex or I got this building over here, or then I bought this other house in a rental or whatever, you start having assets, you're deploying capital out there.
No doubt.
And how do I protect that capital? Because it can get wiped off the face of the earth.
Yep.
So how do I protect that capital so that they come back to me, and keep producing? And that's what you've got to understand about insurance, where it can be frustrating. I know as an average American, you think, I just want the least. But you've got an asset there, even if all your asset is your single home, that for most Americans, if you think about it, that could be probably your biggest net worth generator is your home and
100%.
Real estate, right? Mm-hmm. And so you've got to protect that. And the other thing is, I'm getting older. I was getting a haircut today, and I don't know what made me think about it, but I was thinking how I'm going to be 48, and I just thought about how fortunate I was to be part of the 1900s, and turn the corner and all that crazy stuff. But how my kids, I won't see another century, right? I will not get out of this 2000. I won't be in 2100. But my kids probably won't be in 2100. I mean, because they were born at the front end of 2000. So, I mean, it could, but, my oldest would have to be, or my youngest would have to be over 92. And she would see 2100.
It's weird that we're in the 20s.
But when you think about, like, what is in store for them? So if I think, like, what was it like for so I still go back to the 1900s and, like, what was it like for those people in 1910, 1920? And then now where I am, the difference in technology and how we've come along and all of this. But one thing over generation to generation, when you want to really create wealth, the biggest asset class that gets passed down to people create a legacy is real estate.
Real estate.
For sure.
Yep.
And you've got to protect it. And it's so important to have an advisor that helps you navigate some of this.
Do you watch the show Yellowstone? I mean, that's all
it
is, bro.
They're
like killing people
give the
to keep that
takeaway, but by
land,
the time this episode comes out, you should understand what they did with the asset.
I'm like 2 back, so you already ruined it for
you
me.
need to catch up.
So you need to catch up.
I got a baby, man. My baby's not insured with Drew, though, because he doesn't do health insurance.
You'll see what
But her bedroom is.
That's so great.
Juice has had a claim. He knows what it's all about.
Yeah, I did have a claim.
I mean, how hard is it in the Florida business right now? I mean, because we've heard all the stories about the roofs. All the stories about the roofs in Florida, how hard it is to get insurance in Florida. I mean, are you seeing potential relief coming our way? Anything in legislation? Anything headed that way? I mean, you're in it, the thick of it, and I know you've had to take a beating on that because of all the calls and people, finding out that their roof can't get insured. I mean, it really has been crazy the last couple of years.
The Florida market is a very different market than the rest of the country. I mean, the hurricanes matter a lot.
I mean, can you speak to some of that change? Like, when did you start seeing this change, and do you see relief coming?
Fantastic question, really, because it's been 4 years now, really, since tail end of 2019.
Yeah, right.
Like, COVID was COVID in 2020, and then for us in the insurance business, we just started tail spinning the same time as COVID was going on. So we're like, oh my God, what are we going to do? But we had to adapt. I mean, we went from a very sales oriented sell to trying to talk to the customer, engage the customer, and explain what was going on in the marketplace, right? I mean, most people don't know what's going on. They just see their bill going up 2x and 3x, and they're like, and all of a sudden, as the broker in this transaction, we're the bad guy.
Right.
So then we've got to explain
your job
everything
is so tough
that's
in
going
that
on,
regard.
right?
It
But
is tough.
I do think there's definitely the shift has happened, right?
Yeah.
We've gone to a hard market. We rode out a hard market. the market's softened enough now. We were 21, 22, 23. Pretty much, if you got a renewal offer, you paid it.
I did.
You were fortunate to get a renewal.
I had done it the last 2 years with my commercial buildings.
Yep.
It went from $35K
Yep.
to $45K to $63K
Yep.
in 3 years. And I'm blessed to get the offer.
Just to get a renewal offer, which is crazy to say.
Well, you need to call Drew. He's got affordable commercial building
I'm up
insurance.
for a renewal.
Would you
I'm up for
have
renewal in
worked
June. I'm up for renewal in June. Let's throw it out of that market.
Yeah, he's got a great complex out in Fort Walton. He rents a ton of jabronis over there.
You got some jabroni.
He has some jabronis in there.
He has some jabronis.
We got listeners in FWB.
He
We got
had
listeners in
the
FWB.
national committee was
Written
the
out his
office was
office
in there
for the election.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
during the election.
I am.
His insurance is really going to go up
Waste of money.
now.
What a waste of money to come down here to Okaloosa and Walton
Yeah.
County and set up office.
They gave it. All
Yeah.
you guys gave it a valiant effort. Thank you.
Which, by the
for
way,
using
my
my
audience to the
buildings.
Democrats, nobody's making fun of you here. It's just we're like 90% Republican. Like, what a waste
Where
of
we
money.
live.
This is more like
What a
97.
waste of money.
So-
You didn't even need to put a flyer out.
Yeah, it's a solid, strong
It's crazy.
80%
But you
legit.
should go where you could influence. That's
Yeah.
all I'm saying. Like, learn to spend
Well, I think
money
they were just,
judiciously.
laundering money through Brandon. is what I'm
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We keep no cash on premises.
Oh, man.
No cash on
Brandon,
premises.
white collar crimes, those prisons are
Yeah.
really easy. You sit around, you play poker, lift weights. And
Most of the money that came from
Wait, this sounded pretty good.
I watched the Martha
No more
Stewart
ducking.
documentary. I watched the Martha Stewart documentary, and I felt really good. I can teach you a shiv. No problem.
Oh,
I'll
man.
teach you how to whittle down a toothbrush. You'll be fine.
How did we get there?
That's how it goes here. That's how it goes.
That's ADD, man.
Oh, man. That's great.
So listen, insurance does seem to be a negative buzzword because you were talking about that. Well, first off, before we get off Florida, do you see any relief coming?
I do. So, seeing the shift from the hard market to the soft market. Right now, in fact, I just got word today that there's another company that's opening up in Florida. So, obviously, competition, more competition in the drive rates, right? And we've had that happen. Even like this year, it was really kind of started to transition more favorable for consumers early 2024. And everybody kind of got worried with these two storms we had this summer. But the reality is that was a lot of flood damage.
Yeah.
It's not going to impact the homeowners insurance industry as much.
Gotcha.
That's something that people talk about, right? They don't have flood insurance.
Yeah, I mean, flood is. Everybody thinks, well, I'm in an ex-flood zone. I don't need flood, or they
Right,
refer to it as
right.
I'm not in a flood zone.
If you live in Florida, you need flood insurance.
Pretty
more than
much.
60% of
Yeah.
flood claims come from X zones.
Yeah, you need flood insurance.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I'm in a flood zone. So.
You are.
I'm
Yeah.
definitely in a
We
flood
live
zone.
on
So
an island.
they would let me close on the house, still have my flood insurance.
That's right. That's right.
So yeah.
We're anticipating rate decreases as soon as like first quarter of 2025.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
That's awesome.
Really,
So
the
there's
first
hope
time
out
in a
there.
few years.
There's hope out there for you.
Definitely hope.
Yeah.
Affordable home insurance. Check them out.
Yeah.
Do you do commercial too?
Oh yeah,
Affordable
everything but help.
Yes.
Everything but health.
Don't want to do anything.
That's going to be the slogan. Everything but health.
That
He
would-
does
we would put that on the
business
website.
insurance. Yeah.
All that. I really like that.
JB said everything but health. So insurance does well. I'm actually glad to hear that you see some relief coming. I think that's big for homeowners. Anything we can get with inflation and everything we're trying to navigate. And you're right, competition is what drives the price down. I mean, it's so when we were in garbage, before I move on, when we were in garbage, we had anywhere from 18 different competitors in our county, and we were serviced about 5-6 counties around Metro Atlanta. And we had, but in every county we could have anywhere from 9 to 8, as many as 18 competitors we'd have. And I can remember we had one of our major counties, which was our home state, called me and we're like, well, we're looking at bidding it out so that only one hauler could have all the business. But we would split our county into quadrants and we would give you the same amount of customers and da-da-da-da-da. And I told them, I sat down with them and I actually pulled the commissioners in. I was like, you guys all believe in a free market and you're all less government and you're trying to like take over. I said, what you don't realize is, but we're going to have every address in this certain area. So one, you're going to limit my growth. What if the other area is growing faster? I said, two, though, you're going to hurt the customer. But we're going to be able to contract a better rate. No, you're going to hurt them. There's no competition. Competition is what drives your price down, and competition with
100%.
elevates your service up.
Yeah, like
It elevates your service up. So I was like, you're doing a disservice. Fortunately, they scratched that, and to this day, there's still a free market there. But, in Florida, we have flow control, and it does that way. But we have one hauler.
Yeah.
That's it. And if you don't like them,
Yeah.
I mean, they tend to be good.
Yeah,
but you have
they're
one
pretty
haul, but
solid,
you
yeah.
have one hauler. That's it.
Man, I was
it's
listening
never good to have that.
to one of your earlier shows, and I don't remember which one it was, but you got on to talking about when you were in the garbage business, how you would go into like these new developments and basically drop off a garbage can for the model home, and then maybe the first couple of customers, and that's how you did your marketing. I found that very fascinating. Like people, we do a lot of that. Like, I can't give away any of my marketing secrets on a podcast, but we do very similar things that are very strategic to drive the phones to ring without having to pay for advertisement, things like that. But it's amazing. Where I'm going with that is it's amazing how, two different industries, and you kind of cross
some of the same stuff
with similarities in the way you market.
It's business is business, and numbers are number, right?
100%.
And so, and you're trying to get homes, I'm trying to get homes. It's just a different way, and so it's that's so true. There's so much you can glean from listening. I used to do a lunch once a month it was all business leaders when I was running it. What?
Like a B&I group?
I don't know what that would be.
We have a few of those around here where you just meet like once a month for lunch. Different. Nobody from the same industry.
That's what we did. So there's nobody from the same industry. We were all kind of confidential. We'd have a breakfast. There's only like 6 of us. But we would just have breakfast and we'd meet. And it's just so many ideas we got to share, which was really,
we do that every Monday night, dude.
We really do.
It really is. It's all, everybody's different.
A lot of stuff.
Other than all the fishing guys. You take
all the fishing guys. Yeah, but those guys.
I've learned a thing or two from them, too.
They're all right.
I have, too, for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. But insurance, moving on, insurance does seem to have a negative buzz. I mean, we just recently, and all over the news. I mean, do you have private security now? I mean, that's
soon. I mean, I think that's
you got the earpiece in. You got the earpiece in right now.
She's gonna walk around and follow me. You can be like my Secret Service.
Hell yeah, I got drones, man. They've been in New Jersey, but yeah, I got drones. I've been up there.
We don't need that.
It really does get that way sometimes, and I understand the angst that people have when you have to, and you're not in health, so there is that. People do get denied in hurricane and things of that nature. Sure. We've heard the horror stories of those. I do think sometimes there are unscrupulous insurers doing bad things, but sometimes though it is just being underinsured. You may have tried to get the least expensive. I mean, I think that's why somebody needs to find. I mean, I guess that's why you would advocate having a personal agent means something.
There's been a shift in the industry. Hey, direct to consumer, we're going to cut out the agents. And Progressive tried to do it 20 years ago and it hadn't worked. I mean, we still represent Progressive. We're an agent for them. They still compete against us daily selling direct to consumers.
But when you need a claim and you have to call Progressive or I get to call Drew, it's a totally different phone call.
So, we're a broker in the transaction. We don't really handle the claims. But where we get involved with that is when a claim is denied. Okay, we can jump in and look at the facts of the matter. We can break down. Obviously, a lot of all of these insurance policies are contract language, right? So everything that's being denied or paid, there's a reason, right? And what is the reason it's being denied? Is there a way we can approach it maybe from a different angle to get it covered? And you've got to kind of do some of that stuff. But to your point, a lot of you hear all the negative on the news, right? That's all you hear.
Nobody they want to put out there, right?
They don't post good. Most people don't post good reviews.
They're not doing the things like we're doing. They're doing that junk. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's difficult. The image that the insurance industry has right now. I mean, it really is. Like, I've had conversations with many people that are like, "Oh, you're an insurance agent," because all the claims denied. There was a 2020 episode not too long ago where they're blasting the Florida insurer.
It was down in Florida for hurricane stuff.
Yeah, and there's some bad faith stuff that goes on, right? It's two sides of the industry. It's not the carrier's always right or the carrier's always wrong. There's definitely some middle ground there, but it all boils down to coverage, knowing what you have, knowing how you're covered, knowing what you're covered for, right? And then that's where a guy like me and our staff comes into play.
There's plenty of fine stories too. My dad went through the hurricane season as well and lost his roof, and the insurance covered it. They paid it. They paid his deductible. There was no qualms about it. I mean, so there's plenty of times the insurance does step up and pay out what they were. I mean, I've had, like I've mentioned before on this podcast, we transition. We do a lot of. We've got a vast portfolio of different things, venture capital, real estate, all that stuff. But, we owned a complex in Knoxville, Tennessee, and I charged those guys a lot more money. You know it, you volunteers. that orange, I charge you a lot more money than
got him.
And they had a hailstorm that came down. Hey, look, it's market race, baby.
Yeah. That's good.
But no, the hailstorm came down and like beat in the roofs, like 6 roofs. I didn't even have to go up there. I had a property manager. He took pictures. Insurance was done.
That's awesome.
It was coordinated, and in 2 months it was new roofs. I mean, I just didn't have to think about it. So yeah, you can if you're adequately insured and you've got, and that's the other thing too is you can go that DTC stuff, direct to consumer stuff can be weird because Progressive they may be fine. They've got a fairly decent name, probably a AAA rating, I'm guessing. But you can also do like the General or whatever, or some. I always feel like if they're screaming in a commercial at you, it's the worst one.
I
do have a funny
I know he
story.
does have Shaq. He does have Shaq.
This is a little off topic, but a really funny
Shaq's just
story.
stick to pizza.
This was probably 5-6 years ago when the General really had come out and they were running that ad a lot, and back then we were in a much smaller office, so everybody can hear everybody talking, right?
Yeah.
And I'm listening to a buddy of mine, a very good friend of mine, colleague of mine, and he's on the phone just getting the riot act read to by this lady who's very unhappy with her, right? And he's like, man, this is the best I can offer. And about the 5th time he said it, she doesn't stop, and I can hear him say, you know what? I just looked up for the number for the General. Why don't you call the General? She never called back.
But you can have I think you've got to make sure you're with kind of a AAA rated insurance, right? I mean, there are so many ones that you're trying to get that least coverage. You're going to have the least payment may be the least amount of coverage.
So in Florida, when you're buying homeowners insurance specifically, you're dealing with admitted carriers, and when they're admitted, they're backed by the state of Florida for up to $500,000 per claim. On the outside of the admitted market, you've got like the excess and surplus lines market, which is like the Lloyd's of London, the QBE, these big, massive entities that write business all over the world. They've got risk spread out, and 10 different risk pools. They're worried about snowstorms in Canada and then flooding in Florida, and then they get earthquakes in California. They really balance that risk pool. But the admitted markets in Florida is what most of Florida consumers end up buying homeowners insurance through, unless you're $5, $6, $7, $8 million house on the beach. None of the markets want to touch that.
You almost self-insuring to a point.
At least you've got some blanket of security if that company were to go out of business. We don't. We represent, again, 98% of the companies, but all of the companies we represent have a 10-year of doing business in Florida. Yeah. Even the new companies that come into Florida, which we get excited about, if you look at the leadership teams of those companies, usually there's somebody that was involved in the industry with a different carrier for 20 or 30 years.
So they've got,
they
know how to navigate.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's part of it is you can't just have a pool of money and say, I'm going to insure people's homes. I mean, you've got to understand, like you said, the risk portfolio spread out. I mean, in all honesty, what we're talking about is protecting assets. I said it earlier, right? I mean, from natural disasters or unnatural.
Sure.
I mean, you could overcook a pot too much and cause a problem. So you got to protect it all.
Hey, y'all, new customer of True North Pest Control here on the Armacost, Central Florida, Georgia. You got to check them out.
Yeah, they get rid of all the unwanted pests in your house, including termites and mosquitoes. Tell them the Jabroni sent you. Back to the show.
Yeah, so we were talking about just a little bit of the insurance, protecting the assets. You can have problems with something you did, or it could be, in other words, unnatural. Maybe you left the pot on too long and never could, or natural disaster. But you've got, you have to have someone that understands how to be adequately insured. That and what I mean by that is more than just that your home. I mean, I think people don't understand that I might have my house insured. I bought it for $200,000. I have insured for $200,000, and that may be fine. But it could be valued at
what's the replacement?
$600. What's the replacement? How much would it cost? There could be a difference. That number may not be that, right?
100%. It's interesting you bring that up because where we live, it's actually almost the opposite, right? Mm-hmm. But you get into more urban areas, you can buy a house for maybe $250,000, but the reality is it's a 2,500 square foot house, and finding somebody to build it back for $100 a square foot anywhere probably is going to be challenging, right?
Nowadays.
Right, and then you factor market value and all that in there, but the reality is that house could be, you pay $250 for it, but we need to insure it for $350, or we need to have $300,000 on the house and another $175,000 on the contents just to make sure we're protecting all the assets. Here, It's the exact opposite, and we argue all the time with banks about this because market values here are driven by land value primarily, right? And then if you're buying an investment property with rental income, they're even looking at that and they're factoring that into market value.
Yeah.
So I'm arguing with banks that are doing out-of-state loans for their clients, saying, "Hey, he's paying, $4 million for this. Why are you insuring it for 2.25?"
Right.
And we're having to break down the cost per square footage and the reality of what really would take to rebuild that house.
Right.
And they don't understand that because where you're at normally,
different.
it's different, completely different. So it's just it's really.
But you need an agent that can understand that complexity,
100%.
but then also have a little bit of the understanding on your business. In other words, what does your family business look like? Do you own a business?
Yep.
Do you have other things? Or do you have umbrella insurance? What should be your deductible? Higher deductibles, lower deductibles, et cetera, based on the liquidity needs you may or may not need. But that is something you've got to discuss with your agent. It's not just as simple as going online and picking box A, B, and C.
Well, I think it's your agent's job to do that for you too. In some sense, like you've got to spend some time getting to know the customer and really trying to understand what they have going on. Right? What is their situation? Are they retired? Are they on a fixed income? Like all of that comes into consideration when I'm trying to form a policy that I think is best for them.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just don't know.
Right.
And so you've got to just try and sell what you would sell to yourself, and then hopefully get them on the phone to explain it. And we do a pretty good job of getting them on the phone, but every situation is different.
Yeah. It's not really a cookie cutter scenario. Arguably, if you're your first home purchase and you're 26 years old, you could find something yourself, maybe. I think it's better to start building. Juice.
Keep going.
Oh, keep going.
Please keep going.
I know. Okay, so we're back to an $8.50 podcast. I swear he got up and I was.
We're like 11:50.
We were up to 12 before
close to
we
like
started,
11:50.
I thought we were up to 12 before we started.
We're up to 12. We're going back to 8. We were at 8. We're 8.5.
We're fine, dude.
It's back
Why
up.
did you cut it? Who cut
I
it?
didn't cut.
We're not cutting. This is legit.
Continue to get. It's authentic here.
See anything.
You gave me like this rap. So you
This means keep rolling. Everybody in the industry knows this, JB. This is rolling.
Steel Team 6 kind of stuff.
I'm rolling.
You were somewhere in the middle.
That's what happens when you drink the good tequila, dog. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, and by the way, this thing stuck a second ago.
I did it. Slap me.
It's
supposed
to
be non-stickable.
Well, we're not plugging that.
Advertising.
Don't plug it.
Get rid of them
Don't
over here.
plug
Get
them.
nothing here. For sure.
But if you want to pay, we'll plug these.
Yeah. The best coasters ever.
All right, where were we? Drew was saying some really good stuff.
Something really good.
Yeah.
But no.
You were talking about first-time home buyers,
Sure.
right? We had talked about trying to understand the customer and all that, and then we got into being a first-time home buyer, maybe buying
Right.
direct.
Where
direct
maybe you
from the-
could do a DTC insurance, but you still should start building a relationship, right?
100%, because with a lot of my clients, I've grown with them.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
14 years in this industry, when they first move here, they're first-time home buyers, and all of a sudden we're trying to protect, motorhomes, and we go from talking about $1 million
Jewelry,
umbrellas,
wedding ring,
$3 million
whatever,
umbrellas,
yeah.
and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
I think that having a relationship with an agent, even as a first-time home buyer, is important because we are very just monotonous in what we do sometimes, right? So if you go direct to the carrier and you buy it, you get the renewal, you just pay for it, and you pay for it, and you pay for it. All of a sudden, you're
the
10
numbers
years
is
in.
probably going to be nominal between if
It
they're not
should
the
be
same.
the same. It should be the same. And honestly,
If you-
in most of the scenarios, we can
You
beat
can
that or
shop
not.
it around and get it.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Right. So you're not even going to spend
There's
more
no
money.
cost for your service.
Right.
It really, it's built into the whole thing
Yep.
of what insurance is. But being a broker, a lot of people don't understand. You shop on the entire huge market of carriers, and you're just not locked into one. So anyway,
Oh, yeah. Makes sense.
No, it's a good call. I mean, we've talked a little bit about this, but you said that's really the biggest thing you can help people when they have an accident or damage to the home, whatever, is more maybe, I would assume, one, helping them like understand their policy if they shoot it to and figure that out. But it sounds like really they file the claim and then really whoever's the insurer would be following up and doing whatever their process is.
Yep.
But if they deny a claim, that's where you really can step in. Is that what you would say? Is if somebody gets denied a claim, where do they go? If they had somebody
Not necessarily. Yes and no. I mean, that's where we like to get involved and try and right the ship if we can.
Right.
But we get involved early in the process. Then claim happens, right? And so they will contact us to file the claim. Sometimes, depending on the situation, we direct them directly to the carrier because ultimately their contract is with the carrier.
Right.
Once that process goes on, claims processor's an adjuster that comes out. He's got plenty of lines of communication between carrier and client. We are trying to coach them through that process, right? To some extent, because ultimately we're kind of the middleman in the transaction on the sales side of it. But when a claim gets denied, there's only a couple things you really can do. We can certainly go to bat and try and discuss contract language with the carrier, with the insured, try and really just figure out the whole facts of the matter. But as far as us reversing the claim, I mean,
it's hard. You don't have that ability to do that.
Absolutely not. So they leave that to, there's mediation you go to.
Right.
You can hire a third party.
Counsel and figure it out. Yeah.
There's different avenues that an insured can take, and maybe we can tactfully help them through that process, right, as the broker. But, we've been successful in finding, strategic ways maybe for an insured to approach a claim differently.
When something happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and quite frankly, if they're with you and they're trying to listen to some advice and you guys are creating a policies, and honestly, for like in my case, I had multiple policies. So when you find out these different policies and you find out the breadth of what you need in insurance, then hopefully you're not in a situation that you would even have a claim denied.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So that's the hope of it. For sure. This is almost one of my favorite parts of the show.
Oh, hold on.
This is almost one of my favorite parts of the show.
What is it?
Because this is where we will start to play those Delve cards. Let's pull it out, man.
Juice, oh juice, where are you? We're waiting patiently for what you do. Google Guru, he'll make it right. In a flash, he'll solve the fight. Oh man, he's good at poker, that's right.
Good at poker, baby.
Did you write that for yourself?
He did.
I can't write, dude. And AI would have done better, I would imagine. All right, so no and no.
He got second place the other night.
I saw y'all finish 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Huh?
Oh, man. Why he walked right into it? He just wanted to mention who he was.
He's also the one that took me out the other night.
I almost put Jason and Jason, so everybody had to ask who was one and two.
Yeah, that wasn't a bad beat. That was just we were probably like us.
Oh, he bad beated me.
Yeah, we had to make a move, and that just was.
He bad beated me. I had him out. He was about to be third, and he went all in with a gut shot, eating an 8 and 8 only, and he got it.
And I got it. I got it.
It was dirty, dude. I was
breaking it down, baby. So this is Delve cards again, parents, conversation cards around the table. Your kids are going like coming home saying, "How's the day? I don't know, brah." Brah. You can brah. That's big. Brothers also. I don't know, brother. It's like the weirdest thing right now. So at any rate, Delve cards, conversation cards. Juice, what's the Delve card?
All right. What are people too judgmental about?
Oh, too judgmental. Good. What are they not too judgmental about?
I know what you want to say is that I'm too judgmental of Taylor Swift, probably.
No, I mean everybody's too.
I think people are too judgmental about politics. Whoever you vote for, who freaking cares? It's your vote.
That's a good, yeah.
I'm gonna cut you off Facebook. I ain't gonna follow you. What is that all about? That's
what, you don't do that?
Oh,
road rage is pretty big too.
Well, it's not even good.
We're all real judgmental about everybody's driving capabilities.
There's a lot of bad drivers.
I mean, we're insulated in our cars, so it's not like they can hear us.
Occasionally,
people give each other hand gestures.
I was having a conversation the other day with my children driving down I-10. I was like, when you get older, don't drive like me, please.
Everything.
Do as he see you do this.
I drive just like my dad, Magic Mike, boy.
What does that mean? Is that fast?
Just fast.
Is it
Probably a little aggressive.
Yeah.
Man, I forgot the sticker I used to have on my Eclipse back in the day.
You had an Eclipse.
Drive it like you stole it.
Drive it like you stole it.
What color was that Eclipse?
It was fucking Prowler red.
Wow.
Oh, it was a Fast and Furious body kit. This is before Fast and Furious 1 was out. I had the same body kit, same car, Eclipse. He had the green one.
Come on.
They
Yeah,
called
like
me
a-
Paul
Did you
Walker,
have
man.
neon underneath there?
I have pictures somewhere. I will show
You
you.
had neon somewhere.
Oh, for
on the
sure.
car,
Definitely.
100%.
I'll have to show you some pics.
I bet it was sick.
People around this area knew my car. Bro. I swear to God. It was stupid.
License tag. Nobody would have forgotten.
Juice 69. Drew's seen it, man. Drew's seen it.
I wasn't even bringing it up for this show.
I know. That's what I'm upset is people talking about that, I guess.
That I mean, politics is a good one. That's a really
That's
good
a great
one.
one.
That's a big one.
That's the most accurate one.
I think I also think we can be over judgmental about everybody's parenting. That's the other thing. I think when I had young kids, I think that was a big thing, right? Oh, do you know so and so? I can't believe they feed them this or that. Like everybody has to make the decision that's right for their family. You don't know their budget. You don't know what's going on. You don't know all their life lessons that they had and the trauma. And
Being a
issues
parent
and
is
what they
not
learned.
easy.
It's not easy, man.
Read as
We
many
don't
books
give
as
each
you
other
want,
enough
man.
breaks.
It
and
ain't
stuff.
easy.
Like the only time I feel like I should step in is if you genuinely see a kid being abused, right?
Yeah.
Physical abuse,
absolutely.
some really crazy. I think another parent, that's when you step in. But I mean, because you feed them Big Macs or something. I mean, I don't,
Hey.
I don't know what your schedule
you
is.
eat Big Macs.
Sunday schedule. A good Big Mac. I haven't had a Big Mac in a long time. I love a Big Mac. There's no doubt about
Well,
it.
you get
That's-
canceled again. If the kids are overweight and they're eating Big Macs, there's a problem there.
No, you're getting canceled.
Yeah,
You're getting canceled.
Whatever.
You're getting
I mean, come
canceled.
on.
I mean, it's
Health, long-term health
man.
longevity is
So,
a big
but
thing.
this is
man.
what I mean. I agree.
You
and-
can't
but
just
here's
let
the
them
thing.
pick out
That's
'cause they want
but
to.
I agree that health and longevity is a big thing. But it's again, everybody has to figure out.
It's freedom. You can do what you want.
You can. I'm just saying that's the judgment we're talking about. Is I think we can be.
Yeah.
We could probably be
I
too
could
much, right?
I could probably be
Right.
too judgmental. on that,
Right.
for sure.
Because everybody's living
That
their
upsets me
life and
sometimes.
figuring out. Life's so hard. We don't know what's.
So why judge anyway?
Trying to know what's coming.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
there's
just so
things
hard.
that you can stop from happening, I guess. You still have control over certain things, but you're right. Life comes at you
Well,
fast.
you can
never
only
know.
control people and places and things. That's all you can do. You
Yeah,
can't
exactly.
control others.
Yeah, and I would never say something to somebody. Like, that's crazy.
Well, you just said it here live.
You'll be able to judge you.
Not to somebody specifically to their face. I'm
not gonna judge
I
you
haven't said
to
anybody
your
to anybody's
face.
face. Yeah.
I'm going to judge you from afar.
Exactly.
If you feel judged by Juice, it's on you, not him.
I love that.
Oh, man.
Man, there's a book that's coming out. I've got to pick it up. It's by a lady named Mel Robbins, I think is her name. I follow her on Instagram, but she's kind of like, which I believe she's a therapist, and she puts a lot of good stuff out online, which is just a lot of family-oriented stuff. She's now got kids that are empty nesters and things of that nature. So there's a lot of like this age and stage where I'm at, and I'm seeing what she's going through. She just wrote a book called Let Them, and the idea is, like, for instance, she says her parents are from the Midwest. They're upset that nobody's coming to see them, but she's got Christmas going on, and she wants them to come to her, but they will not get on a plane and fly. And she said, sometimes you can have two emotions. Disappointment in a family doesn't mean that they're really upset. Disappointment means they're upset that they're not seeing you. So that they can be disappointed with you and still love you. And both of those emotions can be true. But that we get wrapped up in that, oh, I've got to go and see them, and I want to change my plans, and what do I need to do? She's like, no, let them be disappointed. It's okay. It's an emotion that they have because they're not seeing you. And I thought that was a unique thing that I thought her say, but that comes back to this judgment thing. Sometimes you just got to let them. Like, whatever they got going on, just let them be.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to affect you. You control you. You can control your emotions. Just let them have theirs. But we get wrapped up in it
So quickly.
live in that world. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
think the
there's-
older you
there's a
get,
little
the
life
smarter you
lesson.
get about
There's a
that.
little life lesson for you, bro. The
What
kids.
was that?
The older you get, the smarter you get about stuff like that.
Is it?
I think
When
so.
you're younger and you let more stuff get to
It all
you.
affects you.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're wanting to please everybody.
Jealousy's worse when you're younger. It's just that's something you get
Keep
better
it
at
on the
as you
Joneses,
grow.
man.
As
We
you get
talked
older.
about that. The social media, the first foot forward sort of
You,
thing.
you just learn to become happy with what you have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Being content in the moment is happiness. It's so great,
I
right?
think
Being
Paul
content in the
says that
moment.
contentment is, Paul wrote that contentment is like his number one thing. In all things, I want to be content.
Yeah, that's right. It doesn't mean that you don't have to have vision and
And
dreams,
goals, yeah.
but appreciate where you're at right now,
Yeah.
because you're gonna go forward. You're just gonna keep moving forward. So, like, appreciate where you've been, where you're going, but in the moment, It's so hard though. You don't learn it until you're older.
Yeah.
If you would have appreciated your 20s and your 30s.
Go back to high school and throw that football over the mountain.
I will tell you, I would read succeeds term high school. You know how many people I know that peaked in high school?
Oh, that is
that's
like the complete
I mean,
opposite. It's true. It's one way or the other.
It sits on you for a long time, but you just got to be able to let it go. In fact, I was talking to somebody the other day, and they asked me what one of my things that when I was younger in business, what would I have changed, sort of deal. And I said anxiety was the one thing that I always, I had this saying when I was younger. It was chance favors a prepared mind. And so I didn't make it up, right? Somebody else did, but I picked it up. I loved it. And so I lived in this world that if I factor out all the different chances that can happen, then the prepared mind beats chance. But I could take it to the millionth degree of what could go wrong. And, of course, half the time, none of that ever happened. And so I spent all this time worrying, anxiety, and so I had to start learning to live with 3 or 4 outs, not 10,000 outs. I start learning to live with, like, I don't have to find every single scenario that could possibly happen. So I might be going to a meeting with the mayor and he's wanting to call me on the carpet for something. I would want to think of every question he could call me and have an answer.
Right.
But when you start getting past 5, it becomes the most absurd questions that they could ask. And you've gone too far. But what that does is it steals time from you. Being able to really evaluate your business and look forward and family, all those things, all that worry and anxiety.
Definitely.
And I've lived in businesses that have absolutely had the worst case scenario happen to them. And life still went on.
The sun still came up.
And the sun still came up. I was still okay. Life still went on. I pivoted in other directions, and
it's a problem, you solve it.
Yes.
Right? There's a solution.
That was the insurance industry in 2020, 2021. Like, half the people that had been in our industry for years lived the 10 years of a soft market. They'd never experienced anything challenging like that.
Right.
So their hair's on fire. They're ready to quit. In fact, the turnover rate during that period for our company was amazing because it was stressful every day. But we kept telling them, hey, this will shift back to a soft market. And we're already starting to see it. And the ones that are riding out, they're like, man, you were right. Like, this gets better.
Yeah.
Man, I can't wait for it to get
I
back.
imagine there's some realtors that feel that way relative to
And it affects so many industries.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah. So moving right along, you aren't the least person that I see at poker, but you are also not the person I see the most at poker. And I appreciate that because I know that you are an involved father and husband, and you're in that stage where if I was where you were in your stage with your kids when I was there, I couldn't have played poker every Monday night either. And so I get that. I mean, my kids are grown. I'm almost empty nested. I mean, I have the ability to play poker every Monday if I want, and I do. So I appreciate that about you. You come some when you can. So you make it a priority to spend time with and get that free time that I think all guys need the ability to do that. But you also were big and involved in your family, and I love that about you. Can you speak to the joy you get from just being there as a father?
Man, it's hard to put into words sometimes, and I think you can relate to that, right? I've got 4 amazing children, and each one of them is so uniquely different.
Yeah.
And it's so cool. I've got, my oldest, and I had her when I was 9 days, 21 when she was born. And somehow or another, this kid hasn't figured out, for the first 6-7 years of my life, or her life, I was still trying to figure out mine, early 20s. So
Sure.
God,
she's to grow up quick.
It's like
Kids growing up with kids. And now she's like mama bear of the group, of her friend group too, at 16 years old. So, it's pretty fascinating to watch her kind of go through that transition. But again, uniquely different. My son is very unlike me. I mean, he likes to build stuff and put stuff back together. If something breaks in my house, I'm calling my father-in-law saying, "Hey, I need some help."
I got a good father-in-law like that.
Yeah,
too.
you got to have.
He's got a good golf game too, huh?
My father-in-law?
No, your son.
He really enjoys hunting and fishing, and I'm not going to take that away from him.
Okay,
So.
That's awesome. No, that's great.
He does. He gets a lot of time in doing both for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, my son loves to fish. He found
he's
like his
fishing.
thing, and that is like he really is an incredible fisherman. I've loved seeing him gravitate to things he loves.
Yep.
So I totally have that in common with you. Is that when I get, in fact, Jackson told me, I think it was on a pod. He actually said that he knew I really loved him, which I thought was interesting because I think he said, I've always known you loved me, but I knew you really loved me because you don't like doing anything outside, but you would fish with me every time.
We talked about this before, yeah. And I think that you told me that story, and I was like, I think I got down the rabbit hole telling you I didn't really enjoy fishing as much as some others do. I'm like, man, but being out there with my kids,
it's different when you're watching them fish.
It's amazing.
They do something that they love to do, and
no doubt.
Sitting with them, and I think it's hard to describe to fathers, and this is a big lesson if you're out there and you're a new father, or you're in a stage where Drew is. I mean, it's never too late, but the one thing that I would tell you is that time. It's hard to express to somebody how much time means. Like everybody's like, I don't know what to do, or I'm not sure where I should be as a father. How should I be? And you're never going to always react to everything perfectly, right? But time with your kids, there's just something that you can't replace sitting with them.
Yeah.
You can't replace that just being in a boat with them.
Yeah.
You know, you just can't. There's something about just being there that you'll figure it out along the way. You will. If you're trying, you'll figure it out.
I feel like I learn something from my kids every day too. Like that brings me joy when I can see them learn something from me. Something I told them eventually stuck. And maybe it was the 5th or 6th time, right?
Hey, this show's name, What the Hell Do I Know? From my kids, right?
But, to see them, like, really teach you something. And there's been numerous examples of that I've experienced in my lifetime. But it's just kind of to be present in the moment sometimes. And sometimes I found myself, like, too busy with work and, trying to, I didn't prioritize everything the way that I probably should have, but being really able to kind of dive into that, especially at this age in their life, man, it's cool watching them grow up.
My kids will laugh with me because we get around a table and my ADD sometimes will take over. So I'll tell you things else, and I'll be thinking about a pod that I've got down the road, and they'll talk and they'll laugh and they're like, Dad, do we have to repeat everything again right now? So it is a weird thing that I have, but it's also a magical superpower that we can go out and be really focused. And so I really love those moments, and the kids know they can call on me. But if you're not there, you can't even have that moment of not listening.
That's right.
You can't have that moment of them joking about it, and these inside jokes we have because of that, because you're just not there. Sure. And so time is so important, and again, if you're out there and you're a young person, you don't have that relationship as a dad, I've always said, find a mentor, reach out, find some other groups, find some places to be, maybe with a business group or a church group or youth group or a college age group, or you kind of find your people, because you do need to find that support. So if you're out there by yourself without that, I feel for you.
Do we want to do like a bring your kid to poker night one night? Jackson plays.
Bring him to poker. I mean, it's a weird thing. We would have to invite the right folks. We got a lot of jabronis on that table. I love them. I love them all. We got some jabronis on the table.
Well, Monday night JB was on something special. I'll just say that. We played 9 holes of golf. We had
holes of golf Monday.
We had an 18 scramble of 3 players a team, and
It was only 9 holes, but yes,
it was 9 holes. It wasn't that
started
bad.
at 2:00, so it got saucy for sure. It was a lot of fun. Jackson was first out. It was crazy.
Was he really?
He was, but we talked about his hand later, and it's his fault, right? Because he was trying to figure it out, and he had pocket 9s. Fine starting hand. I'd probably called most anything other than an all-in. I don't know that I'd gone more than maybe half my stack. Maybe. I probably stopped about 2/3.
Right at the beginning?
Like the beginning, I might have done a third of my stack on a call. I might have done a third of my stack on a call of 9s. Because it's pocket 9s. I get it. I might want to have seen a flop. I'm not sure I would have done that.
I'm sure
much.
Ryan raised it on the button.
So Ryan raised it. He had like ace king. Ryan raised it. Jackson called it. So he's in probably 3,000-4,000, and then Ryan raised it on the turn. Nothing hit. Jackson had the best pair out there, but then the turn or the flop, the turn was an ace.
Oh, okay.
And Jackson raised it trying to bluff him all. Or no, Ryan went all in. And Jackson thought I'm pot committed, but we figured it out. I think he still would add 12,000, which isn't the best place to be that early, but it's not the worst place to be either. And you should. I was like, dude, you had 9s. An ace is there. I mean, he's representing ace. You either believe him or you don't. He had never played with Ryan. He didn't believe him. He called.
Yeah.
So he called with.
So he
and
should
that's
have
it.
all
The
in on
worst
the
thing
flop,
is
yeah.
you were all in with the worst hand. You'd have been better off to go
Yeah, that's
in
right.
on the front end of it,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
than the back end of it. So we talked about positioning and all that stuff, and hopefully that'll help him down the road because there were so many things he could have probably got out of that hand early.
Yeah.
Than getting so
And that's
decent.
Jackson. He's young, so he
He's
doesn't.
just young.
He won't lead bet a lot. You know, he usually will check.
No,
with a
he
good
will.
hand.
He will. He'll check with a good
kinda
hand.
slow-
He
he's
should have lead
slow
that. He
playing
should have
when
doubled
he-
the bet straight off the bat, you
Yeah.
know, and really been the aggressor if he's going to even try to get him out. But
I don't know, Ryan probably would have called. though,
Ryan with
honestly.
Ace King, I'd have called.
I haven't played with Jackson much, so I'm glad Jelly giving me his tell.
Now, but one thing I'll tell you is he can adjust. He can adjust, though.
Alright.
He's young enough to be able to adjust. Some of us
Yeah.
old guys, I'm still going to have the same tails for the next 10 years. It's just going to be what it is.
Everybody knows him
Well, yeah, read
except
that
for me.
poker book on the table back here. I
Well,
think.
what's so funny is I bought this book like 3 years ago. He started coming over the house to play,
Yeah.
to watch
Georgia's
games, Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia.
now bought it, and I started dog earing
This
different
weekend,
pages,
yeah.
so he would think I'm reading it. And literally,
He gives me way too much credit, bro.
literally 2.5 years later, he goes like, "This is what you're doing." I was like, I just started laughing. He goes, I had laid that joke for 2 hours. Those pages are as white as they were when
That's
I
too
bought
funny.
it. Yeah, so I was screwing around with Juice, and he finally got
Apparently
the
it's
joke
working now.
2.5 years later. It's working now, baby. So the other thing, aside from being such, I think a great family man and husband and father, and I love hearing your stories. And Drew, you're somebody that I admire in that world. I think that you are a person that makes me continue to have hope in the world because you're pouring into your family and you're pouring into others, and I think that's so good. But I know you're also a founding member around 2012 of the Affordable Home Insurance Charities Foundation.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool. And I would like for you to tell me more about some of the charities you're doing and why it is so important to give back, and especially to give back to where you live.
Thank you for saying what you said. That really means a lot. But we founded, crazy enough as this sounds, like long before I was much younger at that point in my life. But we founded the organization initially
Well, 13 years ago.
with 3 guys just who like to play golf, and we're like, let's have a golf tournament.
Yeah.
Like, let's just we play in golf tournaments. Let's have a golf tournament.
Yeah, let's do it.
So we start this organization. We formed the 501c3. We go down all this whole path, and we're like, man, we're gonna blow this thing out of the water, right? And first year we're gonna have a celebrity golf tournament in Sandusky, Florida.
Freaking pro.
And I'm like, I mean, it was a great idea at the time, right? And
How many J's were there involved?
no, not many. No, it was long before that.
Long before that.
And so we try and pull this off, right? And we do, but it was a pretty big flop. We ended up, bringing some quasi celebrities in here.
Oh, we can
Had-
use some names.
Right? We
Please.
had Deuce McAllister was here. Ricky Williams was here.
Ricky Williams and Jace. I mean, that goes together.
Yeah, we go together.
Yeah,
Did you have Ricky?
Malcolm Jenkins was the biggest
Okay.
celebrity we had. He was more in his prime at that
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
And Malcolm really dove into what we were doing, and I loved it. Big shout out to Malcolm. I
Awesome.
haven't talked to him in a long time, but
Yeah.
fantastic dude.
Well, you can get him on the pod.
I
bet we could.
We could probably tell. If he knew your target audience, I think he would probably love something like that, right?
That's awesome.
So we do this big event. We do a signing in Baytown. We try and host it and have people come, and it was a fail, probably on our part. First time, when you do something like that, you just don't know what you're up against when you're doing it, right? Then we have the golf tournament the next day. These guys play. It's a great event. We have a great dinner. Event goes great. We raise a ton of money, and then we get done. We look at our expenses, and we're like, "Oh shit!" We didn't really
Didn't quite do what you wanted to
into some
do.
of this stuff. So the first year of our organization, we actually wrote a check out of our pocket,
Oh, wow.
just so we could do what we said we were going to do.
Okay.
And then we dummied it down. And so I'm getting long-winded here, but
No, that's good.
you
So we
take
just podcast. We got plenty of time. Bro.
we take it from there, and we dummy it down to a one-day golf tournament where we target the people we do business with. So our carriers, we target them for sponsorship money, and we've partnered with the Eagle Fund out of Golf Breeze. We've donated money to them every year for really since the first year. Shortly then after, we worked in another organization locally called the Sandcastle Kids Foundation. which is a good friend of mine's organization, Casey Joyner, and his wife, and they do amazing things for kids, right?
That's awesome.
On the Armacost. So we are a nonprofit. We're 100% pass through, and we are fixed in with various different military organizations, but there's always a need elsewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's.
But what made you guys? Because that's what I love is that you really like link into like where this community, seeing a need and how I can impact my world. Sometimes I think when we think donation, and listen, I'm not getting on anybody. I told somebody the other day I can say no because I know that I really focus in on the charities I want to be in.
That's right.
But I go to stores, you know, and it's very popular. You think we're giving, and to a degree you are, but I mean, it's like I'm going to round up for whatever. I mean, but it's some national organization. You have no clue what's going to happen, and you're also kind of giving in the name of like Target or whatever. You know, it's so, to me, it's so much more important to give back to where you are, you know? So, so we're back. I think we're really a $12 podcast because Juice gave me the roll forward motion.
I did, and then
he gave
one
me the
camera went
close
out, and I was
up.
like, "Oh,
So
we're
it's
cool."
very close, people. This is very close. It felt like when he gives me the hurricane, I feel like that's turned everything off from me started. But I understood all of his hand
Look, the
motions
fire
this time.
jumped the line,
So I'm
okay?
definitely
It
up
jumped
into
the line.
12 I'm definitely up in the $12 road. But where we were is we were talking why it's so important to give back to where you are. And that I was saying how, you know, you can go to Target, it's very popular to round up. And I'm not saying you're not giving, but you're kind of giving. I mean, one, you're missing out on your tax
100%.
Deduction if you qualify for that sort of thing and itemized tax deduction. But the other thing is it's going to kind of a national organization. And sometimes we don't know where that goes. And it sounds good.
Yep.
But you don't know what they're doing. And so when you're giving to the really cool 501c3s, we had Armacost Children's Advocacy Center on right before you, the pod that came out before, and we talk about them. And there's some other great charities. You just mentioned one, the Sandcastle
is local.
for kids is local. But tell me why it's important to kind of focus on that. I mean, I'm hit on some of it. But yeah.
First year failure for us are really figuring things out. You know, we had the idea to form this nonprofit organization and give money back, and we're like, all right, where the hell are we going to give money to?
Yeah.
And so there was a very big organization back. I'm not going to mention any names because it wouldn't be right of me to do that.
Right.
But I'm a research guy, and we want to attach this organization. And I start diving into the finances of this organization. I'm like, man, less than 8 to 10% of the money
Is going to.
Yeah, I mean,
help people.
if you really chase the rabbit hole there, it's really concerning and a little alarming.
I feel like that's Red Cross.
Well, no, but that has been. Yeah, like there have been some of those
natural
Salvation
disasters.
Armies and some of those they have.
Yeah, that's what I've
They've
seen.
had to actually adjust. If you dive in and you look at what they've actually started adjusting because people are starting to see this transparency.
Yeah, they got to be
want it.
losing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of us go into a national chapter, not maybe a local
Right.
chapter of that, right? So,
Right.
So we find this organization out of Gulf Breeze. The Eagle Fund is who we initially partnered with.
Okay.
And they are sponsored by the Andrews Institute out there, or founded by that. And they spend time rehabbing these wounded vets that are local in our community back into everyday service. Right?
That's awesome.
Really, really cool organization.
It's a great institution.
It is, and they've got the backing of some really intelligent people
I
over
love
there.
it.
But to see the money that is raised by the entities, we really lean heavy on our carrier partners who necessarily aren't local.
Yeah.
So to be able to bring their money into the community and then pass it all back into the community, on top of all the locals that we do have that have supported us for years, it's cool. It's cool to be able to have someone call. I've got a buddy of mine that does a lot of this type of work too, and he'll call me and be like, hey, we got this organization that needs something. Can you guys do it? And I was like, yeah, we can make it happen.
Well, you know what I love about it too is leaders fill the gaps, and that's what we don't understand. When you're saying I'm going to plug into local charities as a leader, you're saying so. Not every kid can have an advocate, but if we can plug in to those folks over at the Armacost Children's Advocacy Center, if we can plug into the Sandcastle and what they're doing with kids, and we plug into this Eagle Fund, we then can leaders fill the gaps.
Sure.
And we say we've got blind spots in our community, and I want to make my community better. And so, how do I plug the gap? And that's what leaders do. And so, I know again, young people, mid-age, older people. If you're a leader, you're gonna fill the gap, and you're gonna be charitable. You're gonna live charitably. And so, I totally agree with you. And I know you're that guy. And so, I wanted you to speak a little bit to why it's so important. I mean, 2012. You've been doing this for like 14 years. 2025 will be 15 years.
It's crazy to think about that.
So we've got to have this next time. We'll have to do some live pods at your golf joint.
We'll have to do that. Golf tournament.
You
had the honor of shooting it for them, right? And they on one of the holes they have a gun hole. They shoot an AR-15. They put the golf ball in there.
Oh, that's
shoot
awesome.
And it's closest to the pin. It's a par 5. So
What?
they move it up. This thing shoots almost to the green. It's crazy.
It's a modified
It's a modified
AR-15 with a
AR-15.
link.
It's got a little hole.
We'll have to put a clip of it in.
We'll have to do something where I got to think through it. I know we talked about this last year, but we need to do something, and maybe we do the whole.
I could probably get.
We lay off.
film
We
it.
do the back off challenge. Maybe we do a pod where we do back off challenge.
That'd be super cool.
That might be what we should. We'd do one and we set it up and do a back off challenge.
You can't say about drone guy there because he's got to shoot the videos, right?
I know. We got to figure that one out.
I can figure it out.
We got to figure that one out.
But the guy last year they had a blackjack hole. Also a T-Box.
Well, we could have it all donations. So you donate to have the back off. The closest pin on the back off.
That's how he does it. It's an additional
so we need to
fundraiser.
We'll have to figure that one out. But I love what you're doing there. I think it's super cool. This is the part that we are getting to our audience questions. This is our section for Dear Jabronis. Dear Jabronis. So again, listen. I get emails in from you. Most of you know we're a $10 podcast. You can email us your questions, your life questions at $10podcast@gmail.com. That's $10. So $10podcast@gmail.com. We won't give your name out. It's totally anonymous. You can send it in, but I got this question in last week. Saving it for today. And so they sent in this question as a person said, Dear Jabronis, I have a small business and I have an employee that I need to let go. They just aren't cutting it. But it's Christmas time. What should I do?
Severance.
Oh, this is tough. This is tough, right? This is a tough one. I think you're right. Probably. Look, you could also get them a nice card and say bye. Some cookies. Some cookies. I think the main choice this person has. It's so tough.
Yeah, it's in the variables, right?
Yes, it's really it could be a single mom. This could be a single dad. This could be.
It's actually something happening. Q4 is where people you have to show a profit for Q4.
This happens all around
the Joe, what's one expense you can get rid of really quickly as an employee and have profitability? That expense is now gone. So it happens a lot right now.
So what I would tell you is that you have to sleep with yourself, right? So you have to have a conscience. You've got to fall asleep. You've got to be able to live with your decisions, right? And when I say that, I want to take in the brevity and the weight of owning a company, because if it is a decision between keeping lights on for many and being off, there's a decision that has to be made. You've got to make it, and you may or may not can. In other words, if you've got 10 employees, but you got to let 3 of them go so you can keep 7 employed, this is a decision that it's not worth. I would be able to go to sleep with. It would haunt me. I would hate it, but I'd have to do it because keeping the lights on in a business,
that's right. You got to keep
that
it
you
alive.
believe in and figure out. You
guys cut 3 to save 7.
You've got to do right. You got to do, and there is unemployment. There are some benefits, and I do.
Does it help them with that? Is to help them or try to find another 100% work?
Help in any way you can in that process. So have a heart. Now, on the other side of it, if you can afford to keep them through Christmas, that's what I would do. If look, you've had them long enough. If you're coming in the last month, I doubt another few weeks is going to hurt you if you're in that world.
Right. Unless they're doing,
unless they're just doing
irreparable
harm. Then I think Troy, you nailed it. I think you said severance package. I think you got it. I would, if you can push it past Christmas and New Year's, and then make the cut and have a severance package. But if you can't, then I think severance package. You've got to go with. And severance packages are one of those things you just got to kind of look at what's standard, right? How long have they been with you? At this day and age, I think you could probably AI, you could probably Google. There's a lot of resources
More than likely.
to figure out, like in your industry, what that looks like. I mean, with my day and age, you call some friends up, and figure it out. What did you do? What do you think's right? And so it gets that way. But this is a tough one to be. It's a tough spot to be without knowing anything other than that.
Who asked the question? That would help. Help for all of us.
Always.
I still want to know who asked that.
Just without knowing if.
There's a lot of backstory. Like
The backstory,
said,
like understanding where your business is and the health of your business. I mean, if you can afford to go into the new year, I think that's. I would probably head in that direction.
I think Juice like nailed something though, like how we've approached it many a times over the years. Like sometimes, hey, maybe this isn't for you. Let me see if I can help you find something, right?
Are you really happy?
Terminating someone. So the thing that puts it out on me, the only reason why I would delay any termination is because it is Christmas and New Year's. It is a tough time if you got kids and they got little kids. There's a, so if you can, like, if you're really close to that, I just push past the 2 weeks, right?
Yeah,
for me,
sure.
For me. But again, without knowing backstory, if it's lights on or off sort of thing, or they're problem employee and really doing something like negative in your business.
Apple can read up bugs.
Right, we got to go. Right, we got to go.
No, but they're asking that question because they obviously it's somebody. They
But
don't
take
want
out
to
the
go,
time.
I'm
Take out
guessing.
the time. A lot of times when you let somebody go, it's actually better for them.
It is.
Yeah.
It's almost
better
relief
for you,
sometimes.
but it's almost.
Are you really
always
happy here? What do you really want to do?
Yeah, they're obviously.
You can choose from anything. What would you want to do?
Right.
Well, I want to do this.
Right.
Well, I know a guy that does this.
Yeah.
Let me give you his number.
Right.
Here's your severance package.
So look, I think we've adequately answered this question.
That's
We
somebody.
nailed it.
Hope whoever answered this, maybe you're listening and that hits something for you, and maybe you needed that question answered as well too.
Was this Brandon's boss?
His
His wife? No, your wife?
She owns 51%. She can sack him, and she'll sack him before the answer. Crystal. But again, if you have questions like this or some of the other ones or a family question or whatever it is, send it to the Jabronis. We're like, Dear Abby, but Dear Jabronis, $10 podcast at Gmail.
Wait, does Drew have a question like that? $30 podcast.
Gmail.com.
No, okay, good.
But
So
I will send plenty of them. I'll send you some context for us.
send us some more, baby.
Yeah.
Tell all your employees that can be your their
no.
comment section. We'll keep it
So the
anonymous. I
comment
promise.
boxes,
Their
yeah.
comment boxes. $10 podcast at gmail.com.
Oh,
The Jabronis will answer it all for you. But Drew, it's actually been quite a pleasure having you
Man,
on the show today, man. It's been a lot of fun, man. So
Can't thank you enough.
No,
We'll
for
never come
real.
on, man.
Absolutely.
I'm a big fan, and
And the alligator shoes are
No,
awesome.
I love alligators. I love that you listen to the pod, but I also love, again, that you're part of this community. Affordable home insurance. You can check it out. I got it.
Affordable. You only like 20
insurance.
bucks on that one pod. What do you got?
DFIFL.com.
Antonelli, right?
Is that right?
AHI.
Affordable home. Yeah, HIFL.com. I almost had it.
we need to talk to people to simplify that. I think.
We're gonna put Mom. If you just Google affordable home insurance, you guys will come up.
That's right.
Affordable home insurance, Florida. You guys will come up. You got a great business. You guys, if you need a local agent, they're gonna be able to save you money. I believe, but they've got a lot of different places to go. But the thing I love is that they care. And that's what I think you've got to have people. I want to do business with people that care.
Absolutely.
And actually want to be in business with me. So, again, thanks for coming on. We'll have to have you back. We maybe do a poker pod one time and sit around there.
We do need to do that. That would
we
be
need to do it.
hilarious.
Set up a table. We'll do some cameras like right behind us and at us so we can.
That's the only way Lawson could ever be on a pod, dude.
Good idea. Good one.
What's the odds Brandon dies out first? Brandon will be out first.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can make it for
We keep trying to get Brandon to come. He's like, but I just don't know that I want to donate that much money every month.
Yeah, it's come once
Like
a month.
instead
You
of my
know?
budget, I'm like, how much do I want to lose every Monday?
You would be fine. I actually think
I'd
you would
be
do better.
fun, but not fine.
I actually think you would do better than you think you
Yeah,
would.
you got that Democrat money, dude.
That's all go on, man. That would do the insurance.
That's so good. So good. Well, this is the section I like to say, listen up, kids. So listen up, kids. Insurance is defined as a thing providing protection against a possible eventuality. And yes, there is a time we should look at protecting all of our physical assets. And yes, you should find an agent like my good friend Drew Armacost. However, like I have said many, many, many times, in fact, even today on this particular pod, you cannot control people, places, or things. You can control only yourself. So the best insurance really is focusing on living a life of integrity, surrounding yourself with people who positively impact your world and the world around you. It will rub off both ways and can hopefully help you navigate those eventualities, or don't. I mean, what the hell do I know?
What the hell do I know? I'm just JB, middle-aged dad with ADD. Candid convos, jokes so lame, jabronis pulling a poker face. Just a couple of dudes with ADD.